This is motor yacht Lady Anastasia. She's a 47 metre or 154 foot yacht built in 2001 by Sensation Yachts in New Zealand. Her home berth is apparently Port Adriano in Mallorca, Spain. Lady Anastasia has an impressive 3,900 nautical mile range, a top speed of 23 knots, and can sleep 10 in 5 cabins and has a crew of 9. However, now they have one less crew member because a couple of days ago, while they were in Port Adriano, the chief engineer, whose name is Tarase Ostapchuk, who's worked on the vessel for over 10 years, a decade-long service on this vessel, he decided to take action against the Russian owner, a man by the name of Alexander Maiev. Anyway, his company is called Rostak, and according to the chief engineer, he said it builds rockets and missiles for the Russian military. And if you go to the website, I think it's rostak.ru, there's actually a quote from Maiev, the owner of the super yacht, on the company website, and it says he's quoted as saying they build Su-30 fighter planes, Mi-35M attack helicopters, radar, as well as other aircraft and armoured vehicles. So the chief engineer is on his vessel, they're in port, he's watching television, obviously he's glued to the TV because of what's going on back home. And he sees on TV, he sees an attack helicopter attacking buildings on television. He sees it in Ukraine. So he goes, so he's the chief engineer, right? So as soon as I heard this story, the first story I heard was he was a crew member or a sailor, a lot of the reports were saying, and he opened a valve in the engine room. And as soon as I heard that, I thought he'd got to be an engineer. And it turns out he's a chief engineer. So he went down into the engine room and he opened the valves on the sea chest, which is it's an intake, a water intake, and it can feed the reverse osmosis plants, which is what we use to convert seawater into fresh water, and also the engines are cooled with seawater, and all of that water that we use to cool the engines and to make the water, it comes through the sea chest. But he opened the valves so the water actually entered the engine room and started to sink the vessel. Apparently opened another valve which was near the crew area, but I'm not sure what that valve was. So he also isolated the electricity on the vessels. I'm not quite sure how he did this, but one of the reports I read said that he isolated the electricity and turned off the fuel valve. So I don't know if, I think he might have turned off the fuel valve so they couldn't start the generators and then disconnected the shore power. It could have been that there were generators running and he shut those down, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he did say that he warned the rest of the crew to abandon ship because of what he'd done. They thought he'd gone crazy and they tried to stop him, and then they tried to undo what he'd done, opening the sea chest, etc. And this resolved in a partially submerged yacht, according to some of the reports. I did try to get some photographs. I even asked you guys on YouTube if anybody was in that port, because it's quite possible there was somebody sat right across seeing the whole thing. I didn't get anything through in time though, to show how partially submerged it was. So after the event anyway, he handed himself over to the police, and I believe the next day he had a hearing in court, and he told the judge that he regretted nothing and he would do it again. He said there was a video of an attack helicopter attacking a building in Kiev. He was quoted as saying by local media, they were attacking innocents. So the judge released him on bail. After the hearing, he was reported as saying, "That was my first battle. Today I'm returning to Ukraine."